Woohoo! There we go. We are live. Welcome once again to another edition of Learn Photography with Duck. As always, I'm your host, Duck, and we're in episode 20. The and my scene switcher's not switching. Okay, here we go. Let's see. For those of you in the area, sorry, Mark. If you know any beginners that just got themselves into a new camera and are looking to learn how to operate it, I'm doing a beginner's class with Milford Photo on August 8th. So let them know. They can sign up at Milford Photo's meetup page. All right, they got to go to the meetup site for that. Okay. All right, last and final day of playing around with skies and switching things around. And I figure we're going to get into a couple of one easy one and play around with some more advanced masking. Okay. All right. So, just for you, Mark, I'm going to be building a little lesson just around converting to black and white, because I know that's one of the things that you kind of like to do as well. So, and also for you, Mark. Doing a day to night. I've done this in the past with these guys, but it's been a while. It's been about a year and a half, 2 years since I did a day to night conversion. So that's coming up the pipeline as well. So stay tuned for those. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Oh, let me get my Lightroom situation here. Okay. Switch this over. Oh, actually, before we go, anybody have anything they want to share with the group? Anything coming up? Anything unusual? Oh, I do. Something else.
Something in the chat about an article I found. It may be a topic for discussion. I didn't really know too much about it, but this was some analog software that transfers your JPEGs and whatever into, it makes them look like analog film.
Okay.
I didn't look into it too much, but it caught my eye, so I.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting you say that, because pretty much from from day one of digital photography, the quest has been how to replicate the film look in the digital age. And I know when Lightroom started becoming very, very popular back in the day, and they introduced these presets that you can, pretty much they try to create these like one-click solutions that get you fairly close to the finished product. They had a whole series of presets that were based on the film look. So I find it interesting that, as we step away from film, the analog way of capturing photography, there's still that hold, that little tether that harkens back to the analog days and says, hey, I want the convenience of digital, but I want the look of film. So yeah, it's very interesting. We'll definitely tackle that. Absolutely. One of the guys from CTPPA sent me a text. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh yeah. He mentioned that the W. Eugene Smith exhibit is currently open at the Yale Art Gallery. And he suggested we should do a little meetup for CTPPA there. So, to tell you honestly, I don't think I could pull if somebody put a spread of images in front of me, I don't think I can pick out a Eugene Smith photo. So, anyway, if you like going to museums and take a look at past photographers and their work, stand by, because I think we'll be putting something together to go down to the Yale Art Gallery. So, okay, let us switch over and let me share. Brian shared the link to the article if anybody wants it. Best analog film photo simulation tool is free, and I'm totally hooked. Okay. All right. Okay, and hold on a second. I need to set this up to share. So where's my share? Share. Give me 1 second. Share, preview, share. Okay. All right. So I try to make the text a little bit bigger, and for some reason, it doesn't look much bigger to me, does it? Does it?
No,
No, it doesn't.
seem to.
It's really strange because it goes from either this to like huge. There's no in between. Edit preferences. So if you want to change the UI, see, I have it on medium. There's no in between. I would assume by medium they mean at 100. It's 100%, because the next one is large. Okay, and of course, with most things in Lightroom, if you need to apply anything here, you have to kind of restart Lightroom. So I'm going to skip that, and we'll tell it to restart. And I'll show you what I mean by that extremely large, whatchamacallit. Come on, restart. There we go. Okay. Normally I wouldn't have it like this, but if it keeps opening up to this folder for some reason. No. Okay. All right, that should probably be a lot easier for you guys to read. This text, right?
I think it is.
Better? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We shall keep this and we'll see. All right. So these were taken at the country club that I was photographing the participants at. I did some HDR stuff, but I want to, here's like a little black and white conversion that I did. This is the this is the color version. That's the black and white. So we'll be doing that next. So anyway, as you can see, there's the skies were plain. Here's another shot. Literally no clouds in the sky. You know, so it's like, I would like to have. Here's a panorama. Literally no clouds in the sky. So, you said, well, I would like some clouds in the sky because it makes the photograph a little bit more, energetic, a little bit more uh, um, happy, I guess you can say. Having some white fluffy clouds rather than, boring. At least the sky had color, rather than that dull gray sky. At least this guy had color, just no clouds. So obviously there's nothing wrong with this photograph, but in my mind, I would like to see some clouds in the distance. All right. Now, one of the things that I will suggest to you guys is whenever you are out with your cameras, if you're in a position where you see unusual, no, I shouldn't say unusual. If you see beautiful skies or cloudy skies, or yeah, actually unusual skies, because I've come across some pretty unusual skies. Um, Whether they're, sunrise, sunset, midday, take photos of the skies. And what you want to do is you want to minimize the amount of ground. All right, and I'll show you what I mean. So I have, let's see, somewhere here I have skies. Here we go, skies. Okay. I have a collection of skies that I've photographed, and as you can see, um, and I've even have some that I kind of manipulated a little bit. Okay. You can use these for sky replacements. Okay. Now, even if you have something with, some kind of land on it, or a horizon, as long as there is enough sky available within your photograph, you can use this. Okay, you can use these. Obviously, if possible, try to keep your horizons very, very low. Here's one that's kind of like a little bit on the cloudier side as the rain started coming, or weather started changing. Here's one with rain in the distance. Okay. Oh yeah, here's this one without. That's okay. So get into the habit of taking photos of clouds. Okay. Here's one with crepuscular rays. There's a tongue twister. That I saw, and it's like, oh wow, those are like magnificent. How often do you see skies like that? Um, Stormy skies. Oh, here's the sky before I color toned it. All right, here's big puffy clouds. I'm not too crazy of the fact that the trees are a little bit high on the right hand side, but there's probably enough here that I can probably use for a sky replacement. Okay, but here's one. If you can get into a very high location, you know, take a bunch of photos of the sky. All right, this is up at West Rock, for those of you in the area. I probably should have taken a little bit more sky and less ground, you know, but here's another one. Sunset skies, you get the picture. All right, because all of these can be used for sky replacements. All right, here's some with these kind of like the spot. Look at that sensor crap all over the place. Okay. Stormy skies again. And you can see these are in no particular order thrown into this. Oh, funky skies. Look at this. You know, this is that cotton candy clouds that, you know, are just getting that sunset glow that's shining on the bottom of the clouds. Okay. Here's one where the edge of the cloud is, you know, being hit by light. So, you know, more clouds, more clouds, more clouds. All right, you get the drift. Okay. Uh, here's some with the rays coming through. All right. And then I took some of these. For those of you who remember, we used these to create custom brushes, custom watercolor and custom blending brushes, you know, based on the little information that we pull from the clouds. All right, this one we used. Okay. But anyway, here's another one we used for brushes. Okay. The reason you want a library is because whenever you want to do any kind of sky swapping, you want to be able to find a sky that kind of matches the mood that you're going for when you do the composite. Okay. All right. So let's go back to where's my Lightroom? Oh, today's, no, I don't have today's class set up. All right. We'll go back to here. Actually, let's go ahead and add that to today's class. All right, so what I'm looking to do is I want to replace this kind of boring blue sky and drop something in that has clouds, okay? So because we are in Lightroom, I'm going to start in Lightroom first. I'm going to kind of normalize the image. So I'm going to go to make sure that I click on adaptive color. Adaptive color uses AI to kind of get you to a certain point. Also, let's turn on my lens correction. There we go. That's going to be a big difference. And then let's go back to the basic. And I want to open up my shadows. Not too much. Maybe drop my highlights just a bit. And I want to kind of get rid of a little bit of dehaze here. I want to get rid of that haze from that harsh midday sun. So actually, this was morning, so it was a very bright sun. Okay, so I'm liking that, and I said, okay, I'm pretty much done with the editing that I want to do with this in Lightroom. I'm going to export it now. Oh, come on. Right click, edit in, and I'm just going to go ahead and say edit in Adobe Photoshop. And it's going to port it out to Photoshop. Where's my Photoshop? Oh, I'm there already. That was fast. Okay. Now, We mentioned that, you know, we can use masks. We talked about masking skies in Lightroom in order to bring out the detail that's already there. Okay, well, this particular sky has no detail to bring out. Well, there is a little bit of detail, but not enough. Not what I want. I want nice, big, white, fluffy clouds. Okay. So I'm going to do a complete sky replacement, and we're going to do it with a tool right inside Lightroom. Okay. So if we go up to Edit, and about halfway down, you're going to see Sky Replacement. Okay, Sky Replacement. And it's going to open up, it's going to open up this panel here. Okay, and you're going to notice one thing here. Let me turn the preview off. Okay, my sky, as soon as I click on the preview down here, you're going to notice that it's already done the replacement. Okay, so what it's doing in the background, when you pull up this panel, it uses AI to analyze your image, figure out what is the sky, and then it's going to create a mask for that sky. Okay, and then it's just going to randomly pull an image from the library and put it in place. Okay. And I'm going to introduce you to this panel, but we're going to start off with the very top, because this one here is the one that really is going to allow you to be very creative. Okay. And it's a little drop down, and you're going to notice that it drops down to a selection of skies that come preloaded with the program. All right, so you have blue skies. All right, and if you scroll down, there's going to be all kinds of blue skies, spectacular skies, right? One with rainbow. Look at this, kind of like a sunset sky, you know, with these blazing reds and oranges. And this one here is another one that's kind of got this crazy sunset colors. All right. Then you have pure sunset photos. Okay. And then this one here, which is called My Skies. This is a folder that I created. Okay. So I believe by default it may even come with an empty folder. I can't remember. It's been a while. Okay. If any of you are following along, you might be able to share, see what it is. But all you got to do is just come down. You can add a folder, or you can add a file. Okay, a source file. Okay, so all I did is I created a folder. All right, brings up this little panel, and you can just give it a name of what you want. And in my case, I called it My Skies. All right, and then in there, what you can do is you can load in skies that you photographed. All right, and every time you click on that, you're going to see that it loads it into your image. Okay, here's a really dark, moody one. Okay, but we're going for bright and fluffy. Okay, it's fluffy but not very bright. Oh, yes.
So when you create that folder, then how do you connect that?
Oh,
where's the connection?
yes, sorry.
to your library?
I'm jumping ahead of myself, aren't I? So you you create the folder, and then just go to this little plus symbol, okay? And what it's going to do is going to open up a file navigation window, and all you got to do is just navigate to where you have your skies. Now I happen to have a folder that I've dropped, files with skies in them. Right, so if I double click on that, why isn't it opening it? There we go. These are all files that I've dropped into that folder. Okay. And then all you do is just whatever you want to add to that sky replacement, just click on it and say open down here, and it will automatically add it, and it'll be there the next time you want to. So because I had this folder, I kind of built a folder, and then once I had a few images, I went, click on the first, shift click on the last, and said okay, and then it imports them all. And then every time you add a file to this, what I end up doing is, because I don't use this too often, I'll drop a few files in there, and then when it's time for me to update, I'll just take whatever, let's say I added these last few files, I'll just click and select them all and add them in so that they're all available. Okay, but you have to know where your images reside. Okay.
Doesn't matter what format, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. JPEG, DNG, TIFF, PSD, it doesn't matter. Okay. Obviously, you're going to get the most use out of the original file. So whether it's JPEG or RAW, just link to the original file. You're going to want the size. All right. You don't want to be limited by dropping in some small resolution sky in there that, if you try to apply it to a large resolution image, it's just going to try to upscale it and it's going to look terrible. So just keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So once you have your sky in there, all you got to do is just, kind of sort through and say, okay, which sky do I want to use? And the nice thing is, like I said, you can preview. Oh, that looks kind of nice. All right, you can preview. Now, what you have to understand is that this is kind of a utility that is automating a process for you. All right, so all it's doing is saying, hey, I'm going to create a mask that masks out the sky. I'm going to open up this other file. I'm going to set that file into a layer below your image layer so that that layer shows through the mask. Okay? But it's going to behave like any layer. So the nice thing is here while you're previewing it, you can click and drag it around, all right? And you can see that I can drag it down, all right? And you'll be able to see the edge. There's the corner of my image, all right? And if I go up, yeah, see there's the bottom. You can see a little bit of trees there, okay? So you have a little bit of leeway depending on the source for your sky. This is why I said earlier, what you want to do is you want to kind of get samples that really maximize the amount of sky in your image. Okay. All right. So here I can move it up and down. And yeah, this actually looks kind of nice. Okay. And then we have some tools available to us, all right, including if we needed to, we can flip it. Okay, so for example, you can see how this guy, let me get this. This guy kind of follows here and then dips down and then back up. All right, and then here it kind of goes up and then back down. Okay. So this here kind of mimics what the trees are doing here. Now you can say, oh, I kind of like the fact that it kind of mimics that. Or you might say, well, you know, it flows a little bit too much with it. All right. Where this one here just kind of creates a big open area. All right. So we can, if we click on this and check it, it's going to flip it around. And it just does a horizontal flip to your image. Okay. See here, that little bit of a V. Okay. And you can say, all right, does that fit this better? Okay. And you know what? I kind of like it. Okay. That looks better. The other thing is if there's any trees or buildings in the lower section and maybe it goes a little bit high on one side, you might need to flip it in order to use something on your original to kind of hide that structure that's in the sky replacement. Okay, so just keep in mind that any elements that are in your sky, like for example, see that little tree there? Any elements that are in your sky image, will appear here. Okay. So I think that looks pretty darn good. Okay. And then we have a bunch of sliders available to us. Okay. We can shift the edge. Okay. And what that does is it takes your mask and it shifts the edge of the mask either outwards or inwards, okay? And obviously you can see that if it shifts it inwards, it's going to really, really crunch up that tree, all right? So you have to be careful. But the nice thing about it is, remember we talked about halos last time? This is where, see, you can kind of see the halo there. This is where you would use, see, crazy halo. This is where you can fine tune it to kind of minimize halos. All right. And as a matter of fact, let me set it to 0. What I want you to notice, oops, oh, I did it. I hit the enter key by accident. On. Let me undo that. Edit, sky replacement. There we go. Give it a second. It's got to build a mask. There we go. Where's my sky that I selected? Was it that one? Yeah, it was that one. Okay. So I remembered it. Oh, I got to invert it. Okay. See if I can do this without hitting the enter key. All right. If you look at this edge, okay, you're gonna notice that it's a bit dark. Oops, it's a bit dark. All right. Now it's a bit dark because that's how it was in my original image. Okay, but if I shift my edge, all right, outward here a little bit, you can notice that it's starting to lighten up. Okay. And that's because it's allowing a little bit more of that background sky to come through that mask. All right. And again, you have to kind of be careful. All right. The other thing you have is the fade edge. Okay. And this one doesn't look like it's doing very, very much, probably because I shifted the edge. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, you can see it right in the lower section. All right. There's like no fade. Okay. Fade meaning fading the replacement sky with the original sky. Okay. Now remember, my original sky was just solid blue. Okay. So as I shift, if I show you the extreme, you're going to see some of that blue coming through. All right. It's subtle. These are not, very, um, these are not very destructive sliders. Okay. We can control the color temperature of that sky. All right. So this is a tool that helps you kind of balance your new sky with the color tonality of your image. Did somebody have a question? No? Okay. So obviously because, we're pulling a reference shot under, totally different lighting situation, in this case, years previously. All right. So this is a way of being able to help match the replacement sky to our new one. All right. And of course, we can play around with scale. All right. So if your image is a little bit too small, or if there is something on the edge that just kind of interferes, or maybe you're not quite liking the way part of the clouds sit. All right. You can play around with the scale in order to make it kind of sort of fit. All right. I'm going to bring that back to 100 because I think I kind of like the 100%. Oh, shit. I did it again. I hit the enter key. So easy to do. So easy friggin' to do. Sorry, guys. Edit, sky replace, flip. I'm so used to hitting the enter key, All right. All right. Scale, shift. All right. We can flip things around. There we go. Okay. Then we have foreground adjustment. Okay. This one, I don't know. I find every time I play around, I don't really see all that much. Again, they tend to be very subtle. All right, you can see I'm bringing these sliders like massively over to one side or the other in order for you to see any kind of influence. Okay, but you have a multiply, which of course is going to darken. And then you have a screen, which of course are going to, ooh, that one really, okay. Yeah, that one really did a lot. Okay. So depending on what it is that you want to do, all right. So in this case, yeah, the lighten, I think that's a little bit too harsh. Okay. And then of course the edge lighting, that doesn't look like, oh yeah, it's doing a little bit. Sometimes you'll get a dark, it's not really a halo. It's where those really thinner branches on the outer silhouette of your tree line, where the fine little twigs and the leaves that are allowing some of that light to come through. For some reason, sometimes when you mask them and you put it to a new sky that happens to be a little bit lighter, as in this case, those branches look so much darker in comparison to that new sky. Because before, with the darker sky, it looked fine. But now, taking those dark twigs and putting a bright sky behind them, the contrast just gets magnified, and you're able to kind of like play around with that edge lighting. Again, very subtle. You might want to change it over to screen tone. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's doing. Oh yeah, there it is. Very subtle. Again, I usually don't mess around with these all that much, simply because I'm able to manipulate it after I've swapped it out when we're in Photoshop proper. Okay, so me typically I just pick a sky that I like. I will keep all of this kind of like to whatever default is. All right. So what is it? It was in multiply. Let's see, we'll keep it 0, 0, 0, 0. All right. And then the last thing you need to pay attention is, where is the output going to? Okay. Is it going to a new layer or a duplicate layer? I usually just keep it at new layers, and I'll show you what I mean. All right. Any questions about any of these settings? All right. You have other abilities here to play around with the mask. Of course, move and zoom, which I normally don't even bother with either. Okay. Once you got your sky, I'll hit OK. And it's going to build out a folder with all your sky replacement stuff in it, as you can see. Okay. So it's going to build out the mask. There's your mask for your sky. Okay. And you can see actually here, if we zoom in, see this little bit of a gray here. All right. That's kind of what it's manipulating when it manipulates that the luminosity and that edge. Okay. That's what it's manipulating. So you can make this a little bit darker, a little bit lighter with the panel. Okay. All right. Let me zoom back out. Oh, and there's my sky. You can see how large that sky is. All right. And because it's a separate layer, I can, even after putting it in place, I can move it around if I want to. Okay, so I'm not locked to what I selected in the panel. And then here we have another mask. And these masks are used to manipulate the tonality and the colors and all those sliders that make the replacement sky kind of match your image. Those are applied here. Often what you'll find is when you manipulate those, you'll see additional adjustments here. Because I really didn't do much, you're not going to find anything here. You do see the foreground color. All right. And if I toggle that off and on, I'm not seeing very much of anything. As a matter of fact, yeah, see, this is not really doing anything. Okay. Actually, is it doing anything in the greens? Yeah, it probably did a little bit something in the greens, reds, but otherwise not much. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? All right. And of course we can collapse it. Okay. On as a basic tool, this is how I would do a very simple, very quick, down and dirty sky replacement. All right. And then once it's here, then I can go ahead, and if it doesn't match, I will then apply additional, adjustments. So, I might do, warm it up a little bit, you know, just to kind of bring everything together. Okay. All right. Any questions on the Photoshop sky replacement tool? Pretty simple, right? No questions? All right. Okay. Now, we've mentioned in the past, or I've mentioned in the past, that anytime you are looking to do anything with your image, the quality of the edits is only as good as the quality of your masks. Okay. So let's take, for example, I want to take this and I want to manipulate certain aspects of it. All right. Now we've discussed just very recently, we can create masks based on a color range, right? We can go select, where was it? Layer, where was it? Select, I'm on the wrong, make sure you are on the correct layer. Select, color range, all right, and then you can say, I want to target the greens, all right, and you click, and obviously this is a lot of greens in this thing here, okay, cyans, okay. But the other thing we can do is we can do what are called luminosity masks. All right. And the luminosity mask is basically based on the intensity of light, the light value of a given area. Okay. So if we look at this particular image, we can see that the clouds, the little gazebo, are very, very light colored, okay? Whereas the shadow area of like the trees in the background, those are very dark. And then in between, we have our midtones, okay? So what we can do is we can build masks based on those properties, okay? So if we go up to select, make sure your layer selected. Select color range. All right. Instead of going with a color, you can see down here we have highlights, midtones, and shadows. So we can say, I want to target just my highlights. Okay. And you can see right here my garish green mask. We can take the range, all right, and we can say, okay, well, I want to really target a lot of the bright areas or just a very small section of the bright areas, like the really, really bright areas, okay? So in this case, we can kind of dial in exactly how much of those bright areas we want to target, right? And then the fuzziness is kind of like your contrast edge. You can have a soft edge transition or more of a hard edge transition, okay? So let's see if we can just kind of select all the sky and things like that, okay? And then you can preview it right here in this little window. This gives you a little black and white preview, okay? So you can see it's kind of selecting a little bit of the upper sky here. All right, and let me just back that up a little bit. We'll soften it up, okay? And then once we kind of get it to where we want to, all right, we just going to say okay. And it's going to give us our marching ants. All right, you can see the marching ants, okay? So this is now telling you that I have made a selection based on the criteria that you dialed into that little the little pop-up window, okay? And then from here, you can apply this mask to wherever you want, okay? So for example, my favorite are curves, so I'm gonna go to the top of my layer stack, and I'm gonna go hit the curves adjustment, okay? Here's my curves adjustment, and you're gonna see that it's really not doing, it didn't do very much of anything. Well, that's because I haven't applied any adjustments to it yet. However, if we do Alt or Option and click on our mask, this is what our mask looks like, okay? Now, for those of you who like getting creative, maybe doing like convert something to a line drawing, take a look at this, huh? Kind of sort of resembles a bit of a line drawing, doesn't it? All right, hint, hint. Okay, and then from here we can say, you know, I want to just target certain areas, and we discussed how we can use a brush. All right, black is our foreground color, right? And we can say, okay, well, I'm going to, let's go, and I don't want to include any of this area in the bottom. I just want to kind of keep it to the, to the sky, all right? And maybe some of the trees up there. We resize this down, and we just mask that out, okay? Now, I'm being a little bit sloppy here. And remember, the quality of your edits is only as good as the quality of your mask. But even though I am rather sloppy, okay, where it needs to be in like all this detail up here and the edge of my mask where the tree line is, that's dead on. You cannot build that by hand. Well, you can, but it'd probably take you 50 years, right? All right. And then from here, we can apply whatever, all right? And you can see how we can manipulate it. Obviously, you know, I'm not going to manipulate too much. Maybe I want to keep my blue area a little bit like that, and then just kind of open up the bright areas, right? So that's before, that's after. So a little bit of a brighter sky. Maybe I want to add a little bit of blue into this, you know. Okay. Whatever it is you want to do. Okay. And let's say I want to just do something with the shadows. Okay. So we can go right back here, make sure your background selected. Select color range, all right? And instead of highlights, we're going to go to shadows, okay? And you can see how we flipped it, okay? And again, the range, you know, how much of your shadows, how deep of those shadows do you want to go? All right. So in this case, you can see everything that's white, that's where your mask is. All right. So we can see really deep into those shadowy areas of the trees. Okay. And then we're going to hit OK. Again, we have the marching ants. We are going to convert it to something that we can use. Curves adjustment. Again, we don't see anything until we apply some kind of adjustment, okay? All right, but what we can do, again, Alt, Option, click on the icon here, and we can say, well, I just want to keep it to the trees. I don't want to do anything to the path or anything to that foreground. So again, I'm going to get myself a brush. Get my brush nice and large. All right, black is my foreground color, and I'm just going to click, shift, click, shift, click. All right, and I'm just going to kind of erase all this foreground stuff. I don't want it applied to any of that foreground elements. I want to just keep it to that deeper part of those trees. Okay, drop back out, click on my adjustment, and we can either brighten it up a little bit, all right, or maybe we want to darken it down a little bit more. Maybe we want to add a little bit of coolness to it. So I'll go to my blue, just touch up the blue just a touch. Okay. Add a little bit of cool tones to my shadow. Whatever it is you want to do. Okay. The important thing is how to make these masks. All right. Okay. Any questions so far? All right. And of course, I'm not going to create one, but the other thing that we can do is we can create a mask based on midtones. All right. So what it's going to do is it's going to take whatever the midtones is, and it's going to expand to the brightness and to the darkness of that range. And you can see now, instead of a single cursor here on the slider, we have two. We have one for our brights and we have one for our darks. Okay, so we can manipulate how much or how little of literally the midtones. Okay, the closer they are, the closer we get to our midtone value. The further apart we are, the more of the adjacent tonality we include. And then, of course, you have your fuzziness, which is, you know, your edge. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cancel because I don't need one of these. All right. Hopefully you can see the benefit of this. It's you play around with it, you're going to find that it's rather intuitive, because you can see as you're moving those sliders, you can see all of this being affected. You can see that mask being creative in real time. Okay? All right. Now, if you want to get a little bit fancier, all right, let me turn those off. Actually, let me go ahead and group these. All right, and we'll call this range masks. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can download plugins. All right. So if you go plugins, plugins panel, all right, you're going to see that I have a couple plugins that I've added to Lightroom, to Photoshop. One of them that I really, really like is TK Luminosity Mask. All right. So how do we get there? Right below it, you're going to see Browse Plugins. And if you click on that, it's going to open up a window to a list of plugins that are available. Now, some of these are free. Some of these you have to purchase. Okay. And you can, and right up here it says plugins. All right. This is where this is the Creative Cloud desktop. You can get fonts, you can get all kinds of templates and stuff like that. Like I said, this is the plugins. Okay. And what I would suggest is just kind of, if you haven't played around with this, take a while and look through this, right? Piximperfect has one here, okay, for compositing. So if you do any type of composition work, all right, he's got a tool. I think he's got another one in here somewhere else, all right. But like I said, most of these are showing free. Why? Oh, that's probably because, oh no, I have it all. Okay. Off to the side, you can say, okay, what kind of plugins I want? Well, I want plugins for Photoshop. And you can say, all right, I want all of them, or I want just the free plugins, or, I don't want to play around with free. I want something that the developer has put their heart and soul and is selling it, So you can say paid, and if you notice, they range in price. Here's one for $1, $2, $30, $30. Okay, so they range. Here's one for $45. They range in price accordingly. All right. Now, the reason I mentioned this is because some of these developers will develop a paid preset, or a paid plugin, and they may have a free version of that paid plugin that you can play around with. And it may not be the full features. It may be, a little truncated or whatever, but it'll give you a preview of what's available in the full paid package, and you can determine whether that's something you want to spend your money on. Okay, but there are plenty of free ones. All right, and like I said, the one that I like is TK. Now TK, here it is, TK Luminosity Mask. TK, you're going to find there's a few TKs. All right, and if you go to, I thought there was a little bit of a search window. Oh yeah, here it is. You can also search. So if you know what you're looking for, you can just type it in. All right, so TK, if I type that in, press enter. Tony Kuiper. All right, maybe not in the free. I think he may have some in the. Here we go. See, he's got all kinds of actually just two here. Two, yeah. All right. So TK Actions version 4 panel, the for $30, right? Oh, that's what I did. All right. And then the TK Luminosity, which he offers for free. There are also a few others, but I kind of like TK Luminosity Mask because it's very straightforward, very simple. And, you don't really need much more than that. Okay. Once you got it, you just hit the install button. All right. This one's already installed, but let's see. Uh, let's see. So like for example, if I wanted to get this banner snack, you'll see that there's the get button. Okay. If it's paid, you have to, complete the purchase before you can install it. But if it's a free, it'll just say get. You just click on that and it will install it for you. Okay. Once it's installed, it will become available through the plugins. Okay. And oftentimes it's not going to load the plugins automatically every time you load Photoshop, which is kind of a pain in the ass. All right. But you can just go ahead and click on it right here, and it will launch it if you don't see it. Okay. Any questions on how to find presets and how to download them? It's pretty straightforward. Okay. All right. So like I said, this is kind of like just down and dirty, not much to it. Right, there's an info button, it'll tell you a little bit about it, and then there's the press to play. All right. Oops. Oh, you know what? I think I messed something up when I I think I double loaded this. Okay. Oh, of course. Oh, no. Again, make sure you have the layer selected. That's what I did wrong. Okay. Make sure you have your layer selected. If you don't have a layer selected, you can see that it will give you an error. Okay. So what does this panel have here? All right. The core of this is this grayscale. Okay. Now, if you notice that there's two layers to this grayscale, going from 1 to 6 to the dark side and 1 to 6 to the light side. And then just below that, you're going to see a 1, 2, and 3. Okay. The 1, 2, and 3 kind of sort of think of it in terms of when we went to the range mask where it was either your brights, your midtones, or your shadows. All right. That's pretty much what this is. Okay. It targets your shadows, it targets your midtones, or it targets your brights. Okay. Pretty straightforward. All right. Oftentimes, though, you're going to want something a little bit more nuanced. All right. And that's where we're going to get into this upper part. Okay. The closer it is to the outer edges, the more of those highlights and deep shadows, those small little areas of highlights and deep shadows is going to target. The closer it gets inwards, the more of that area gets expanded on. Now, the nice thing about it is, just like the when you went to select color range and you played around with this slider, see how you kind of get a live preview? Okay. We're going to get the same thing here. We're going to get a live preview. All right. And you notice my image has gone to black and white. All right. So if I go, let's say, all the way to the 6, it's picking up just the brightest areas of the image. And it's, those really specular spots on that white gazebo. All right. Hopefully you guys can see it, right? You can see that right there. Okay. It's targeting the very brightest parts. As soon as we step in from 6 to 5, you're going to see that that area expands. And every time we step in, we're going to see an expansion, more and more, you know, of the more and more of the bright areas that just, you know, stepping down and inward towards middle gray. Okay. And you can see a massive, massive increase in tonality as we go from like the brights, and we're stepping into a little bit now into our midtones. Okay. And then if we continue, it's going to flip it, and it's going to now start targeting the darks, right? And as we go, continue the other way, it's going to target more and more of those really, really, really dark areas, okay? So these areas will be like deep shadow, almost black, okay? So you have the flexibility of targeting anywhere along this range, okay? And then just realize that as soon as you cross over that middle line, it's going to flip it, okay? Because here we're targeting shadows, whereas here we're targeting the highlights, all right? Once you have this highlight, or I'm sorry, once you have the range that you want to target, because you got the preview, then you can make a decision, all right, what do I want to apply it to? Okay, so you have all the basics here, okay, including your curves adjustment, levels adjustment, brightness adjustment, hue saturation. You have your color effects, or camera effects rather, dodge and burn. You can just create a selection, the marching ants only, all right, nothing else. Or you can save the mask, okay? And this one I can't even remember because I don't think I've ever used this one. All right, that's just a mask by itself without any kind of layer adjustment, okay? All right, we're going to create a curves adjustment. Come on, curves adjustment. Here we go, curves. And we're just going to apply it there. Okay. And then you can do whatever. Okay. Any questions on creating luminosity mask with the TK luminosity mask? All right. And again, it's a mask. You can manipulate it. So you say, okay, well, you know, I need to be a little bit stronger in certain areas. So you can do Control L, which brings up your levels. And I think I showed this last time. You can increase the white areas, okay? Decrease the shadows, so create a little bit more of a contrast, more of a black and white mask, okay? All right, and then that will allow you to really target certain areas, okay? Let's add a little bit of warmth to those areas. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay. Oh, my sky. All right. Any questions? Any questions on creating luminosity masks?
Got an easy crowd in here tonight.
Easy crowd, yeah. Okay.
Order so low, we're afraid to ask.
What's that?
Said we're either on board or we're so lost we're afraid to ask.
Yeah. So, all right. So right now I'm just kind of explaining the tool. All right. When I do the day to night example, when I show you how to convert an image from day to night, we'll be using luminosity masks, and I'll show you specifically how you can use them to target very specific areas. Okay. So if you don't quite get it, don't worry about it. We will be targeting that. All right. But the takeaway that I want you to know is where you can download that in your plugins. All right. Just go browse plugins and, go to the search, type in TK, hit enter, and it will take you right there. Okay. If you type in luminosity, all right. Oh, did I? Be nice if I spelt it properly, right? Is it? Oops. Lumen. I can spell. Lumen. Ah, my fingers are getting in the way. Luminosity mask. You can see that, here's one by ARC panel. Interactive luminosity mask. This one here, I played around with. You can see it's installed. I wasn't too crazy about it. And actually, I never noticed this before. 4 stars compared to 5 stars. So, and this one I've never played around with this. And then this one is kind of like this is like an older version of the interactive one. This was a little bit more like the first iteration. And then there's a few others here that you can pay for. Here's one for $9. Here's one for $16. Okay. Let's see. Get your luminescent coral letter overlay. Nope, that's not it. All right, luminosity mask panel. Here's another one you can look at. Create mask, clean up masks, help. Okay, that looks very plain and basic. Oh, there you go. See, it shows you all the ones from lights, darks, and midtones. That's kind of nice. All right. So play around. If you don't like one, try a different one. Okay. Me personally, I kind of like the TK version, the TK one. It works for me. But if you don't like it, try a different one. Okay. But as long as you know where to find them now. Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay, guys, that's pretty much it.
I was waiting. No, I'm hitting for the button.
Oh,
I thought you could walk through that. So when you're going through that, well, if we install that, so you know when does it provide extra features, or it's that TK mask you're talking about?
yeah.
So it's an add-on, or that's where we'll see it.
So it is an add-on, yes.
I don't know. I guess once you've added it on, is it obvious that one is using it, or does it sort of get worked into the luminosity mask that comes with Photoshop? Enhance it at that level, or it's a completely different?
Well, no. So what it's doing is it's automating the process for you. So rather than you going in and adjusting the sliders and creating the marching ants and then applying it to, whatever adjustment and then grouping them into, you know, a folder or whatever, it's doing it for you. And it's doing it in a very visual way. All right. So that's one of the things that I like about TK. All right. As soon as you activate it and you start playing around, you're going to notice that this turns to kind of like a black and gray. And you're going to see this is a preview of the mask that it's going to build for you. All right. So you can see in real time, all right, what is that going to select, all right? And then you can toggle it on and off if you want, all right? If you say, okay, well, you know, it's obscuring too much. Like, for example, this one here, all right? Obviously, it's kind of, you know, you can tell exactly what it is in this mask. But let's say there's some feature that you don't know what it is that, you know, or where it is in the image. Just, you know, toggle it and say, oh, it's that part up there. It's that very, 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 very bright part of that little top section. That's what it's masking. Okay. And you can see it's these very, very bright areas here. All right. And you can see how bright they are in my image. All right. So let's say, you know, I find those to be annoyingly bright. Okay. Well, there's the mask that allows me to just target that part. All right. I say I'm going to do a, let's do a levels. All right. As soon as I click on that, it does all the work for me. Oh, what did it do? I chose the wrong mask. I did, didn't I? Let's try that again. There we go. And levels. Okay. So there's my mask. There's, oh, here it is. I looked at the wrong one. All right. And then now I can say, all right, I can bring that down so it's not that bright. All right. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay. Before, after, before, after. All right. So you can see it just knocked it down. All right. So you can be that surgical with your mask. All right. And the nice thing is, okay, so I did that. Maybe, you know, I want to add a little bit of you know, warmth to it. Let's see. How can I add warmth with the levels? Can I? Oh, here we go. Okay. Obviously, I wouldn't do it like this, but, you know, you can say, okay, I'm going to do very, very specific things to that part. Okay. And then you say, okay, I'm going to go back to, instead of targeting that. Oh, see, look at that. It's, let me zoom out. It's not finding those highlights anymore because we corrected for it. Okay. So now I want to target maybe this part. Okay. So I'll create a levels adjustment there. Okay. And I want to say I'm going to bring in a little bit of that warmth tone, or where is it? I can't remember how to do it with levels. I normally don't do it with levels. All right. Oh, here we go. Okay. And just start building up whatever, you know, towards your goal, whatever it is that you want to accomplish. All right. Each mask is going to target something a little bit very specific, okay? So you can say, well, because again, remember, we're dealing with three parts. We're either going to be working on the luminosity of our image, we're going to be looking at the color of our image, or the texture in our image. All right, those are the three things that we're going to be editing. All right, we can be very surgical and say, all right, for this range, I want to add, a warm tone. And for this range, I want to add a cool tone. All right. Which actually would probably be a better example. So let's go back to our TK. All right. And I say, okay, I want to, all right, this, we're going to do here, we'll do this. We're going to colorize, and we're going to add a lot of, very warm tones. Okay. I'm going to make it very, very obvious. It's going to probably look disgusting. All right. But just so you can see. Okay. So here we have an obvious, we've added some warm tones to our highlights, all right, because I targeted all the highlight areas, all these, all this, all right. Those are all our highlights, okay. Go back, and we're gonna target our shadows, okay. And again, we're gonna do a color, and we're going to colorize, and we're going to go to blue. All right, there we go. All right, and we're probably getting a lot of overlap, so I might want to bring the blues below my warms. Okay, and now you can see, let me toggle that off. All right, a lot of blues in the shadows. All right, and a lot of warms in the highlights. Okay, and you can see by themselves that looks terrible. By itself that looks terrible. But when you blend the two together, warm tones into highlights, cool tones and the shadows, we get a nice, really toned image. Okay, but each one of those masks that we just built target a very specific thing. All right. And again, the quality of your mask, I mean, you can't get, look at the quality of this mask. This is incredible. You couldn't build a mask like this by hand, right? Okay. Oops. There we go. All right. And I duplicated it. Any other questions? We good?
Not a question, but just an observation from when you're doing the skies.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I forgot about sky replacement. Because, we've done those other things sometime where we try and bring out some of the pictures of a otherwise dull sky.
Yes.
No effort good at that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes working with the sky you have is the best choice because, it matches everything. You just need to bring it out, especially some of those really stormy clouds. When you're dealing with, heavy stormy clouds, you look at it, everything looks gray. But if you think about it, there are different densities of clouds up there. And because it's light is being filtered through those, and it's so very heavy, we may not notice the subtleties with our eyes. until we really bring it out and we enhance it and we add contrast to that subtlety. Because once you start building that contrast in those very subtle gray skies, that's when, you know, that richness of texture really comes forward, you know. And because that everything was taken all at the same time, that sky, even though we brought the texture out, that sky is going to match the mood and the atmosphere and the color and everything else to the ground plane. So, you know, I'm not a big fan of sky replacement, you know, but there are times like this one. This image looks so much better with clouds than without. Oh, let's see. Than without clouds. That's boring. That's a boring sky. All right. That it fits. It looks natural. It brings interest. You know, there's a certain balance there as well. So, but anyway, that's enough of my. All right. Any final last minute questions, comments, concerns? Okay, awesome. I'm going to go to bed because I'm beat.
Right. Don't do that till you get in bed.
Exactly. All right, guys. We will, let's see, the 20th. Are we at the end of the month already or not?
Yeah.
We are. Okay. So we'll see you on the 3rd.
All righty. Have a good time, sir.
All right, guys, stay safe. Don't do anything I won't do. Okay. Actually, let me stop share. And there we go. Ciao, guys. Oh, to-do. And where is my, there we go.
Thank you for watching Learning Photography with Duck. Brought to you in association with Milford Photo, your local full-service camera store. Located in downtown Milford, Connecticut, Milford Photo offers you a personalized shopping experience. From the latest camera gear to printing and framing services. And, of course, educational workshops to teach you the finer aspects of photography. Don't forget to tell them Duck sent you.